What you man? I tripped the dog.
See? Oh, damn, Ken.
My bad, shit.
Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, here on a big TV on Deadendhiphop, here to review a new album with 4 of my favorite reviewers, my new favorite reviewers now, the new Theophilus London LP, Times Are Weird These Days.
Yeah, the time was weird when I was listening to it. It was definitely out there. Man, you know, honestly, I can't say that I really enjoyed it. It was one of them that I was kind of stuck in the middle because I felt like this was almost like the perfect, like the sound of it sounded like it should have been on a Scarface soundtrack. Cause it sounded like it was like back in the 80s or I don't know, but it wasn't bad, man. I put the dude in the same category like B.O.B., Donis. Yeah, it was just out there. He's very eclectic, very, very out there. It was cool. It was cool. I like him though.
As much as there is a hip hop influence, you gotta admit that there's a lot of like, you know, FIFO's right. I mean, there is a distinctly like 80s feel to this album. I like got the feel that he's like listening to way more like Africa Bambaataa and LL Cool J and like, you know, West Street Mob, just like that 80s electro hip hop sound than he is anything from the 90s or anything from the 2000s.
It took me like about 4 times to listen to this album because I was like, why am I not digging this album? Because for me, when I was listening to it, it put me in the mindset of like a Kid Cudi type of feel for the album. So when I was listening to it, I'm like, dang, I do not like this album, but why the hell I don't like the album? And I like Kid Cudi's work. So it was just like, I listened to it again. It's not a bad album. I couldn't get with it because it just, if I want to hear Kid Cudi, I can listen to Kid Cudi. Or, you know, it was some parts of the album where I felt it was like Andre 3000-ish. If I want to listen to Andre 3000, I mean, you know, while I want to hear this dude, I can listen to Andre 3000 or Kid Cudi. So that's my opinion on the album. I think it was, I mean, musically it was a good album, but I just couldn't get with it. It didn't move me, and I'm like, it's oh God, that's all I gotta say. That's how I feel about it, man. It just, yeah, it's just like that's how I feel about it, man. It's just like it's like a Kid Cudi wannabe type of album, man. I'm sorry, Anthony, you just smiling at him.
Here's the thing, like, you don't gotta be sorry because, you know, I said, hey, let's review this album. You know, it's an interesting fusion of like these indie sounds, these electronic sounds, these pop sounds, and hip hop. But the thing is, I liked it. But like this much. I mean, I gotta agree with what the both of you said so far. I mean, I was listening to it over and over, and maybe you guys could speak on this, but like, I like the production, I like the beats. I feel like the sound of the album is really fun, it's really colorful. And there are a lot of strong hooks on here, but part of where I was like getting really underwhelmed was especially with his rapping. I was on like the 7th track, and I was like, man, he's used this same exact flow on like 2 tracks already. I mean, the same exact flow, exact rhymes again. It's like, you know, my first exposure to this guy was the Lover's Holiday EP, which came out earlier this year. And I liked that a lot more because it was like, it was leaner, it was faster, it was simpler. There were even 3 tracks from that 5-track EP on this album, and I was like, you know, I'm kind of hearing these same tracks over again, and like outside of those songs that I liked from the EP, none of the other tracks really wowed me. I mean, I think the only track that really kind of stopped me in my tracks, but only because it was surprising, was like the 10th song, and it was only because the song sounded like Huey Lewis and the News or something. It was like a new wave hit from like 1983 or something.
Alright, I guess I have to be the outcast. I fucking loved the album. I thought it was great. I loved it from start to finish, man, because like the first track hit, I was hooked. Because on the first track, you know, Last Name London, he reminds me of this dude Beans from Annie Pop. And then after that, when he gets to, you know, the Love Is Real, that's when I hear the Cudi influence. I completely, 100,000 million whatever % disagree. It is not a Kid Cudi wannabe album. The only thing that is relatable to Kid Cudi is that it's different. I don't think it sounds anything like Kid Cudi. I think that this dude took a whole lot of genres, stuck them in a blender, and spit them out. To me, it sounds more than anything. It sounds more to me like TV on the radio than it does fucking Kid Cudi.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the music itself to me sounded like TV on the radio mixed with like some cool like 70s, 80s funk, and then you have him doing this weird rapping. And of course, his lyrics are not great. It's not a deep album, but he holds his own shit. Kid Cudi's lyrics aren't fucking deep.
I never said.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying.
That's what I felt, man.
Yo, real talk though, man. Look, he put all that stuff into a blender, and when he poured it out and you drank it, it was very bland. He still had.
You thought the album was bland?
I think so. Like it when I listened to it, like I said, it put me in an 80s state of mind. Like I just heard, like, damn, this should be on Scarface, but it wasn't great. But it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad. I didn't say the drink that you were drinking was bad.
You're saying it's
bland. Like it wasn't.
I think that's the exact opposite of what I got from this album. I don't think it was bland at all. You know, in comparison to his other work, maybe it wasn't as good. But if I was a new person walking into this guy, how do you call that bland? You don't have anyone that sounds like this. So how is it bland?
But just because nobody sounds like it doesn't mean that it can't be. Not good or bland.
What do you think
well,
bland is?
okay.
Bland means it's boring, it has no flavor. It's not different. That's what bland is. So if
so
no one sounds like
but,
this, how is it bland?
But you saying that it sounds different, we just gave you a whole bunch of people that we thought it sounded like.
No, you gave me Kid Cudi and I disagree. That's what
And we said Andre 3000.
I disagree with that too.
Okay, but we gave you.
But that doesn't mean, I still don't see how you call the album bland. I think you just didn't get it.
That's
not an insult. I just think you just didn't get it.
But it's just not good though.
Oh, so now it's not good. You said a minute ago.
It's not great. Okay, it's not great. It's
on,
decent, man. It's right there in the middle.
So now is it good?
I said it wasn't good and I said it wasn't bad. That's what I said.
I'm not sure if I get the Cudi or like, you know, maybe I could see the Cudi reference because they're both kind of rapper singers, you know. But I mean, the TV on the radio comparison, like, I can't compare this guy to anybody modern, anybody at all. It, like, you know, there is a flavor to it to me, but to me, he's taking basically every popular flavor from the 80s and like trying to relive it. There are fantastic songs on here that I would have liked to have heard like more of, like Last Name London, the first track, or that track Why Even Try is really good too. That also came off from the EP. To me, those were like, you know, really catchy, standout songs with great singing, you know, great hooks. I mean, yeah, I know the guy's not really lyrical, but he's like putting stories together. You know, he's not really kind of throwing out punchlines, really, you know, some line that's going to hit you and make you laugh or something like that. He's rapping about a lot of girls, but it's not really like, you know, girls in the sense that, you know, he just loves girls. He's like rapping about specific girls. Like, oh, this one's crazy. She's calling me all the time. Oh, you know, I have a crush on this one. I'm taking her out to lunch. You know, I'm taking her out to get something to eat. You know, or you know, I'm breaking up with this one. He's like, you know, telling relationship stories on a lot of these songs.
But you know what, if you listen to the track Wine and Chocolate, and I'm not sure if that was a single or not, but that track specifically, it screamed TV on the radio, from the melodies, the harmonies, everything on that. And I think that's where I got the TV on the radio reference. Was when I heard that track, I immediately said, this guy sounds like, and I don't want to mispronounce his name, I think it's like something, it's something Adebimbe. I can't pronounce his first name, but he sounds a lot like the singer from TV on the radio. But for the majority of the album, yeah, I got an old 70s, 80s feel, but I also got...
You think that's where he was going with it?
Yeah, of course, but I didn't get it. I didn't get a Kid Cudi, Andre 3000 feel.
I did. I mean...
You know, when I first put this album on, I think the first thing that I wanted to know was, where did Mike Seatown find time to take the picture for the album cover?
Fuck you, kid.
When I saw the album cover and I saw the title, I'm like, man, weird times call for weird wardrobes. The way he dresses, you know, it's like another 80s thing that I have to say about this album. The way he dresses, the way he carries himself, and, you know, just sort of like the beats behind him. He's like trying to be the MJ of hip hop.
So Theophilus, London is a guy that I found last year, and I completely loved it because he was Theophilus London, and that's it.
Yep.
He redid Marvin Gaye's "I Want You." I mean, I thought this guy was just incredible. I loved him a lot. I thought it was just one of those guys that only I would know about, and I would just kind of keep. I didn't know he would turn into where he's at now. So when I was excited to hear and see his success, like Bun B shouted him out on an interview before. So when I first listened to this album, there were really 3 songs that summed it up for me. And it was really One Last Time, Stop It, and Why Even Try. That's how I felt about this album. That's exactly how I felt about this album. Why even try? Just stop it, Theophilus. You Theophilus now. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. And because it was for me at the time, it was just very, it wasn't what I expected to hear. Because I totally agree with what they're saying, and I can hear why they are saying that they hear Kid Cudi. Because I felt the same thing. It was his flow, the tone of his voice, really kind of. So when they said, I was like, oh, I heard the same thing. But I played it over and over again. I said, okay, you know what? I would say it is a good album. I like the album because after a while, it was like, this is Theophilus. Clearly the best song for me on the album, and really a lot of the better songs on the album for me are the ones that have the features on it. Why Even Try, I just love it. When I listen to Why Even Try, I feel like I'm back in 1980 watching Streets of Fire. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt when I listened to this album. When it goes from song to song. Huh?
So it grew on.
Yeah, it grew on. First I was like, whoa,
Really?
whoa. Because I knew I knew I was prepared to hear something weird.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to hear something different. So I was ready. So and knowing that, and knowing the EP that he released earlier this year, and the mixtape that you were listening to,
I actually like that better than
right. So it was almost like he went in a slightly different direction, but this is Theophilus London. This is what you get from him.
Whether you like the album or not, you can't say he's not versatile. And,
right.
and like I think that's partially kind of what may make this album a little awkward for some people, that it is so all over the place. I think if you just took that mixtape that you were talking about, or if you were talking about the EP Lover's Holiday and you had copies of those and you had to put them in a record store somewhere, you could easily file those into pop rap, some kind of pop rap mix. But once this album came out, so many other pop flavors came out, and it's like, oh man, he's doing a new wave thing. He's doing a dance music thing. And one of my major gripes about the album, outside of that, I think his flow is a little flimsy, or repetitive rather. There's some of the songs on here just get like too sweet and sugary and just like pointless for me. I mean, I don't know if Mike feels this way, but I think my least favorite track on the album was the 4th one, All Around the World, where he's like rapping about touring, and like there was even a line in there where he said like, these girls say I'm futuristic, they think I'm Mr. Jetson.
Yeah.
Sometimes he misses the mark when it comes to lyrics. He does. Sometimes he misses, but again, you're listening to it from a hip hop standpoint. He's not fucking, he's not Royce. You can't put this shit on and think that way.
I wouldn't expect him to spit like Royce.
I kind of knew what to expect when I put on this album. I really did.
Yeah.
I knew what to expect. So when I heard it, I was like, this album is fucking phenomenal.
And see, maybe with me, maybe I was probably trying to compare it too much to his I Want You mixtape, because I actually enjoyed that.
Can't do it.
And maybe that might be the mistake.
Didn't have that much hip hop.
It didn't, but I enjoy. I can listen to that more than I can't even listen to Times Are Weird these days no more. I can't listen to that. I'm just being honest. I can listen to
even the track Why Even Try? Y'all can get it.
God.
Because he said if you think you're special, you're probably not. Why even try? That's fucking brilliant to
I
me.
love that song,
That is
man.
brilliant to me.
Yo, I can't listen. I can't put this album back on and like listen through it the whole way.
And nothing that doesn't surprise me.
It's only a couple of tracks that I could go back, and the one that stands out to me is Last Name London. I really like that.
I couldn't get with it. Couldn't get with the album at all. I like I Want You mixtape. So if you what's it, Theophilus? Theophilus. You know, if you a fan, I listened to his mixtape. I got the album in the recycle bin, so that's getting ready to be permanently deleted. I just couldn't get with it. No, I just couldn't get with it. I just couldn't get with that album. That's just me. I just couldn't get with it. I wouldn't vibe into it. I had to listen to it multiple times to find out why I'm not liking this. And dudes remind me of Kid Cudi. You know, why settle for the Walmart brand? I can get the national brand.
You know what? I don't even know how to follow that. You know what? I think it's Theophilus London. I think you get what you hear, and that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else I can say. If you're a fan of the '80s and you like the '80s, go ahead, cop it, pick it up. You may like it. You know, maybe stream it on Spotify. I'm sure it's there. But overall, I liked the album. I thought it was a pretty, it was a good album. I appreciated the album. Why Even Try is just my shit. I just love that song. I was playing that shit when FIFA when I was over here, man. I love that song, man.
I thought it was great from start to finish. I can completely 110% understand why people would absolutely hate it. I can understand why B didn't like it. I can, I don't know who I would recommend this album to. It would really depend on how in-depth our conversation got. If you are a fan of stuff like Anipop, I might say check it out. If you're a fan of the band Love, I might say check it out. If you're a fan of Marvin Gaye, I might say check it out. But if you come to me and you tell me, I love Jeezy, I love Wayne, I'm a huge fan of Big Sean, no, I'm not gonna tell you to check it out. So, yeah, I love it.
It's definitely not a hip hop album. There is rapping on it, but it's not a traditional hip hop album in any sense. It's not a traditional anything in any sense, because I think on this album, if you're a purist, you really love pop music and you love pop, still it's even difficult, like Mike and Ken said, to recommend this, because it's not just a pop. There are several things mixed there with it too. If you're the type of person who loves hearing genres kind of just crash into each other, that's where this album kind of succeeds. For me, when he was rapping, I thought the lyrics could have been better. There are some tracks that get too poppy for me, and it's just like, they're just not doing it for as much as other tracks. But it's a fun album. Looking for something light, looking for something easy to get into, looking for something fun. I don't see why you couldn't dig on this. So, Anthony Fantano, Theophilus London, Times Are Weird These Days, forever.
So now,